What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerdcastle for the first episode in our coverage of Might and Magic 7. My name is Splattercat. Happy to have you here today as we check it on out. I've been a big Might and Magic fan my entire life. I have all of them going all the way back to the Sega Genesis. I tend to play them pretty consistently, and I also tend to enjoy them a lot. Some games are better than others, but number 7 just arrived hot from Ubisoft's presses, so I decided I was going to play it. This upload might be a little bit late just because I got the release date wrong, but whatever. This is not a blind playthrough for me, at least not the part we're going to be playing today. I've played everything to practice and get back up to speed and just figure out what's going on. I'll try to point out things that are a little bit different, but I'm not that huge of a fan, so I may miss some things along the way. So without further ado, let's play ourselves some Might and Magic 7, shall we? I love this series. Always nostalgic for me.
I am tired of war. My subjects suffer and my soldiers heal from meaningless wounds. Our enemy tires as well. Duke Seamus of Stag has offered us a truce. If I kneel to him and call him Emperor, he'll make his daughter my bride and me Archduke of his Eastern Realm.
After all he has done, you would be putting a monster on the throne.
The Dukes of Griffin do not bow to lesser men. But this proposal shows that our enemies are on the brink of rupture. Seamus offers us half the fruit to save the tree. The time is ripe to cut it down. The time is ripe to dismantle the Empire into kingdoms. I am going home. I will fight no more.
By Elrond,
this is a dangerous path upon
war is won on battlefield.
Could have sent a message.
Not in
by
castle.
the 7 dragons. Is this how it all ends?
Ivan, son of Griffin, you did not call forth your 6 most trusted advisors to simply give us orders for retreat.
I am not running. I shall found a kingdom. Let him keep his severed empire and rule over the rubble.
Foolish man! No sooner his strength reclaimed, he or his sons will come riding down upon us.
Duke Ivan, we have stood beside you all these years. Listen to our counsel one last time before making your decision.
I see only bloodshed in our future.
To see Ashan's future, you must look at Ashan's past. I have a story I would share with you. One of impossible choices and brave decisions.
That's a marvelous idea, Murizel. Let us each tell you a story, Duke Ivan. Consult the past, and then make your decision.
I will hear a few stories. I owe you all as much. If you want me to continue this war, your story better have a sweet ending.
Alright, so this game's a little bit odd in that it allows you to choose what campaign you want to play before you can unlock the real final campaign against the Duke. And so the one that I very much like is going to be the one with the orcs. The voiceovers are a little bit iffy, but the game is still fun, and I think that they did a pretty good job with this one. So let's go ahead and play. A lot of people prefer to play Sandbox. I actually very much enjoy the campaigns in these games. So we might do some Sandbox after it's all over, but we're going to do the campaign first. And so it's split up into basically 25 missions. You do one at a time. You should be able to mash one of these out per episode almost, I think, if I move quickly enough. So anyways, for the ones that aren't blind, I should be able to get them done pretty quick. And then the ones that are, you should be able to hustle. So let's do Kenties.
Kente knows good story. Legend of Imani. Courageous war chief saved desert orcs from tragic destiny.
Tell me your story. And you, Master of Arms. What are your plans for reinforcements to bolster our forces? I'm guessing the orc tribes are not so keen to fight for a baby teeth.
Ivan guesses right. But there is one man who is friend of many orc chieftains. If Andrash comes to fight at Ivan's side, orcs will follow.
Andrash?
A mercenary from Hammerfall, also known as the Raven.
The Raven? You mean he is my brother Sandor's descendant?
Ah, Anya is sister of Sandor Raven, Sandor Konyakti.
So Andrash is of our bloodline. Kente, will Andrash fight in the name of his family?
Andrash has price, like all mercenaries. Andrash wants what Ivan won't need once Ivan is Emperor. Andrash wants a birthright. Andrash wants the Griffin Duchy.
That's a bold request.
Best allies are more than friends. They are equals. If Council is telling stories today, Kente has good one to share. Story of Desert Orcs of Sahar.
Let's hear it.
It was the year of freedom, when great liberator Kunyak took Orc people away from the wizard lands.
I think we all know the story of Kunyak's exodus.
This is not that story. If Duke will listen to End, Duke will hear.
Forgive us, Kente. Our Duke feels the weight of history pressing against him. Please continue.
Ivan knows of orcs that sailed with Kunyak to the Pow Islands, and Ivan knows of orcs who fled to Ranar Steppes. But does Ivan know of orcs that stayed? There was a great orc warrior named Jengo, and Jengo wouldn't flee. Jengo called Kunyak a coward, said orcs should stay and destroy the wizards to the last. Many warriors followed Jengo, thirsty for wizard blood. Story Kente wants to tell is story of Imani, an orc warrior who followed Jengo. Imani would become one of Orc's greatest heroes.
What did Imani want to talk about? Amari should be training, preparing for battle to come.
For 20 moons, Imani has fought the wizards for Jengo. But Jengo's new plan sticks like goblin's fart!
In 1 moon, Jengo leads attack against Abitil, great city of the dead. One of the 7. Victory there will matter, will change everything.
Amari saw Wizard City. Dead things that do not need sleep or eat guard its tall walls. Orcs too few, too tired. Jengo is taking us to be slaughtered.
Amari trusts Jengo. Jengo is great warrior, has led orcs to many victories.
But Jengo lets blood rage do his thinking. Vengeance pours into Jengo like water into drowning man. Last time, Imani followed Jengo blindly. Imani lost eye.
Irony.
If Imani believes beastmen can be convinced to break chains and fight at Orc's side, Imani has 1 month to try.
Jengo won't be happy.
Orcs do what orcs believe in. That is Orc way. And if Imani succeeds, Jengo will welcome reinforcements.
Big Brother is wise. Imani wishes Jengo would listen to Amari more.
Imani's scouts found beastmen camps in valleys south of Al-Batil. Gnolls, centaurs, winged harpies, and another of Rakshasas, the proud lion men. If Imani could convince all 4 to rebel against their masters, orcs would stand chance against wizards. But Imani had only 1 month to succeed.
Okay, so our task is actually pretty simple. All we have to do here is if we go over to this side, we got our quest log. Imani cannot be killed, and then B, we must rally the beastmen. And so there's gnolls, centaurs, harpies, and rakshasas. And so we need them to come along with us so that we can stage our rebellion against our wizard lords. And so we have a month to do that in. 30 days, 4 weeks, whatever you want to call it. This down here is our calendar. Each one of these is a day. Every week we'll have a different bonus and things like that. But for right now, it's just us. And if we go to our menu right here, you'll see that it's us and 20 orc warriors. They have 21 HP apiece. They each do about 2 to 6 damage. And then from there, it also stacks with some of the main character's stats as well, which you can see over here. And so anyways, because our main character can fight alongside, I think that we should have a pretty good chance of mashing our way through this map pretty quickly. So I'm going to be off and running. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves some of these things on the map very quickly. If you're not familiar with Might and Magic, it's a series that is very, very near and dear to me. This territory is controlled by the wizards. If you want to succeed, you'll have to pick your battles carefully and focus on your main objectives. Okay, well, I'm going to pick up some wood first because obviously I can't go on an adventure without finding some wood. There's a neutral army over here. I'm going to go ahead and attack them because that's what we do to filthy neutrals. And so we're going to jump in on this side. It's going to be us and our 20 orc warriors versus 14 Kabirs. And so these actually fight as a stack. If you're familiar with Might, if you're familiar with Might and Magic, These guys will just be one character on the combat screen. You'll see in just a second, but their stats stack with each other. And your goal is to kill off all of the stacks that your enemy brings into combat. Leave my orcs right where they are. I believe these guys are actually ranged characters, as I recall. These little Cabal or Cabane or whatever the hell they're called. Our character has a number of things she can do in combat. She cannot be targeted. We actually lose and die if all of our soldiers die. So in between, she's sort of a supplementary buff unit. So she can cast some spells like regeneration, or she's got some scouting spells and things like that. Or much more usefully, she can just attack the enemy and basically one-shot them for us. This was supposed to be a training battle, so it's going to be very, very easy to get it done. Off we go. No orcs lost. An easy victory. We're going to get ourselves some XP when we level up. We get to apply skill points and things of that nature. You can fight the battle again if you weren't happy with the outcome. That's an option that I think they give you on normal difficulty. I will not be using it on this playthrough. I think that it's scummy, and, you know, I just want to have a good time, play the storyline, and have a nice day playing Might and Magic with all of you. I don't know, always been a big fan of this series. I have the one on Sega Genesis, I have the one on PlayStation and PlayStation 2. There are a lot of cool games out there for Might and Magic, and some of them are better than others, but in general, I enjoy them all. So on this side, we've got a severe army on that side that will fight us. I will more than likely ignore that army because it's going to be 1 to 4 of these female Jinn things that do a lot of damage in melee. I'd rather not.
What's this smell? Orcs! Many orcs! Too many to fight!
Half man, half hyena. Imani heard about gnolls. Wizards' tracker dogs.
Gnolls are no dogs.
Yet wizards keep gnolls in kennels, with collars and chains.
The masters call us dirty and stinky. Nasty and cowardly. True, Kaftat does not like to bathe. But Kaftat does not like to be beaten, either.
Imani can cut the chains, open the kennels. Gnolls can join orcs, become part of Drive. Not their dogs anymore, but warriors.
So you would have us bite the hand that feeds us, Crunchy. I am hungry. Always hungry. Break the chains, Orc Imani. The gnolls will join your tribe.
Hell yeah, day 2, and we've already completed one of our objectives. How swift were we? We go hard. That's how we do it here at the Nerd Castle. It doesn't matter what our enemies want to do. We break these chains. We break these chains. And so, because slavery is not tolerated here, there's an average fight right there. I suppose I could get some goodies out of there if I really... let's just play quick. Got a neutral army on this side with a chest and some other little things. There's no reason in this first mission, actually, to take anything other than gold. If you take XP, if you fight enough battles, you can max out your character's level anyways. So the chest is almost always better used as gold, in my opinion. What do we have going on over here? You actually use the arrow keys in this game to pan and scan around, so if you're having trouble getting that to work, that would be why. On this side, it looks like we've got air elementals. The path is blocked, is it? So can I go down this way then? Indeed I can, and it looks like we got to decide if we wanted to go up here. Academy troops patrol this road. They will surely attack you if they spot you. You better stay away from the road, unless you're really looking for a fight. So all these guys are going to be guarding all sorts of resources, but what we're going to try and do first is grab some of these little things off the ground. So some dragon blood crystals, a little bit of gold, a little bit of ore, things that will be helpful along the way. There's a Black Fang hideout on this side. I would highly recommend that you use it. Use up all your movement as well. Don't waste your movement. On this side, we have an artifact, so I may go for that as well because it'll be super useful to have. We'll bypass the turn. The wizard slavers have taken their turn. I'm going to go in here real fast, and for 1,000 gold, we can have them scout a fat chunk of the map out for us. And because I don't like my map skinny, we're going to go ahead and do that right now. And so the reveal that we're going to get, bam, bam, and there you go. So now we know how we're going to get the Harpies, the Centaurs, and the Rakshasas as we go through here. But let's grab ourselves some crystals first, and then this combat's going to be our next. It's a little bit more risky than the previous ones, but I think we can make it happen. Alright, deployment's fine. The gnolls are going to be a ranged combat troop. They throw knives, things like that. But honestly, we're going to be pretty heavily leaning upon the fact that our characters... Oh, Jesus. Okay, so our character does get a chance to counterattack, just in case you didn't know about that. Let's go ahead and take the kill right there. And then the next thing that we want to do is we want to swoop around the backside, because if you look from the front, you actually lose damage modifier. So you always want to attack from the back if you can help it. You'll still get retaliated on, but you'll deal a lot more damage. And since the retaliation comes after your initial attack, it means that they'll be dealing back less damage. And so there's a victory. I didn't think air elementals could actually move that far in one turn, but hey, learned something new today, I guess. Can't make an omelet without breaking a couple of orcish eggs, so let's grab ourselves a little bit of gold here to replace the gold that we spent on mercenaries. And then we're going to pick up these boots right here, which you will see the Sandals of the Swift Journey will go into our inventory slot right here, and it will allow her to move +1 on her turn. That is persistent throughout the campaign, so above all else, I would recommend that you go after the concrete assets that stay with you. It resets all of your resources at the beginning of each level, but it does not reset your gear or your level up, so I would prioritize those. Looks like we could actually help out over on this side, too. I'm going to bypass the turn, though, real fast. There's the patrol that we have to watch out for. She's not actually that bad, but you will suffer some losses just because they have a caster just like we have a caster in our combat. I'm going to grab this guy right here, and we can actually do this by knocking out 2 of these crystal pillars. I would recommend you take this one and this one. This one's actually quite a bit more difficult, so it can be risky. I would not recommend it. So we'll knock out this pillar right here. In order to do that, we do have to get rid of some of our 8-legged friends here, but you know what? They're not really my friends anyways, so not a fan of spiders. They've got 3 groupings. On my turn, what I'll more than likely try, don't try to hide behind things. Ranged characters can fire anywhere on the map, no matter if you're behind something or not. It's not a thing that I like a lot, but it's a thing that exists inside the game, so you got to learn to live with it. I'm going to kill their ranged characters so that indeed he cannot do that. I'm going to move my Orcish warriors over to this side, the 17 of them that remain. I'm going to have my gnolls throw some knives out that way, even though they get a damage nerf by 50% if the enemy is more than, I think, 2 squares outside of their movement range or something like that. That's why when they mouse over, you'll see that the damage modifier is 0.47. Sometimes they get a double turn. I haven't really dictated, or I'm sorry, I haven't figured out what causes that. I'm not entirely sure. I think it has something to do with their luck stat and their morale, but much beyond that point, I couldn't say. I'm going to kill off that 5. Ooh, actually, their stacks are pretty thick. So I'm going to go ahead and fall back with this group. I'm going to stick to these guys as hard as I can, hopefully getting rid of some of them before they get close enough to do damage. I would really like to do this flawlessly and not take any damage if I can help it. It would be what I would prefer. Luckily, they appear to have done something sort of stupid with their movement allotment. So I'm going to move him back to here. See right there? If you have good morale, sometimes you get a double move. And so I don't know how else to describe it much beyond that. This spider right here, 3 of them remaining. I'm going to go ahead and take a bypass right there. I'm going to throw knives out on this side. We shouldn't be getting the debuff anymore. But we need to get rid of this spider before anything else goes wrong. So I'll probably leave that to the orcs for right now. Go ahead and have the orcs kill him off before they can retaliate. Orcs are going to get a little bit of a morale increase. I still haven't figured out where the morale goes on your screen. I haven't verified completely, but these spiders seem to be a little bit nastier than the originals. Go ahead and throw some knives out. I think these might have been 2 separate types of spiders. And from right here, we have a chance to kill 2. I'm going to attack with my caster first. Bam, bam, bomb. And on this side, we're going to be guaranteed 2 kills from the flanking strike from our orcs. And that's going to get us through yet another combat without any losses. So that's exactly the way I like my fights to go down. Cool, cool, cool. There's our first level up. We'll play with that in just a minute. No losses, which is exactly how you want the combat to go. The crystal pillar is going to break. Let's go talk with her first, because I know you actually will talk to her on this side. I think she moves back around the other side if you go this way. Yeah, and so we'll talk to her on this side real fast.
What is this? A magical cage put by wizards to hold harpies prisoners.
The wizards use us for their games and their amusement. Then they trap us with their magic, forbid us from feeling the wind under our wings. Have you two come to mock us?
If Imani can help, Imani will.
There are pillars around the nest, powering the wizard's barrier spell. Destroy these pillars and we'll fly free.
So you definitely want the harpies. The harpies are super useful later on in the game, or later on in the level, so please don't, like, shrug off your harpies. You will regret it later on if you do. We are almost done with our first week. She's running that way, so we should have a little bit of time to get out of here. We got to blow up 2 out of the 3 pillars. I think I mentioned that already, but if I didn't, Ooh, there's Dragon Steel over there. Dragon Steel is useful for summoning elementals, by the way. Each one of these little resources has a use. You kind of just gotta find your way around and just play at your own leisure would be my recommendation. Just have fun with it, because frankly, there's no right way to beat the missions. There's just varying degrees of right and wrong. Let's go ahead and kill this neutral army real quick. We'll break that, we'll get the Harpies, and then we'll be the hell up out of here. I would definitely recommend you focus on gear, though, as you play the game. Try very, very hard to get the permanent gear upgrades and also the permanent stat upgrades on the map. Otherwise, a little bit of a waste of time. Those shields are super dope, although they got spiders on them, which is kind of creepy. I don't know if I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and stab one of these guys. Down he goes. A little bit of morale right there. The function, once again, of having that extra morale is to ensure that sometimes we get double turns. And so you really, really, really want to kill enemies if you can. Let's just keep it towards these guys right here. Knife throwage. I love the way that attack looks. I don't know what it is about throwing knives, but it's always been something that I found to be badass and attractive. Probably should have killed one of the 10 stacks, in all honesty. Probably would have been a better way to waste my time here, but, you know, we'll just get rid of him like so. And then what we'll do is we'll have him, just chill where you are. And then you, sir, hopefully you get a double turn. That would make me really, really happy. No double turns, so we'll have to live with the results that we have for right now. I think the orcs should be able to finish off this little team right here. This first map, very much sort of a tester mission. Don't worry about it. Don't think that the game's too easy or whatever. It's just, you know, it's meant to be easy. So anyways, the only way I could see it, if you wanted to play it hard mode, I guess you could go through by not attacking. Which I did for a while, because I didn't realize your hero could attack, because in some Might and Magic games, your hero can attack, and some they can't. And so even though the game was flashing things at me and being like, yo, dog, you know that your hero can attack, right? I apparently didn't notice, so I'm going to scoot back slightly. And then we need to stab this guy right here. Ooh, we've actually only killed off a couple of them. Let's go ahead and throw, because we've got more of a damage buff now. That's 4 of them down. We should be able to take them out with the orcs on the next turn. There it is. We got to retaliate, but not until they are all lying broken and bleeding on the... Actually, skeletons don't bleed, I guess. So anyways, victory is ours. That's the point that I'm getting at right here. That dude's been doing some serious arm day. No joke. That dude is lumpy with muscles.
We didn't expect you to help us, and yet you did. Maybe we can fly with you for a while, be your eyes in the sky.
Indeed you can, and the reason that you want them is because they help you with an objective later, and then B, they're actually really, really good in combat because they're super mobile, and they can act in a way which doesn't cost you hits or anything like that, which can be pretty good. So for right now, I would recommend we take the bandit camp because we're going to need a bunch of gold later. So there's the 500 right there. I can't recall if there's a chest over here. I think there's an experience shrine, and you don't even need that, I don't think. So anyways, we need to level up real quick, which can be done from this little icon right here, in case you were looking around for it. I would not put a lot of points into Blood Rage, because I haven't figured out how to get it to work just yet. You can get War Cries. You can get Destiny. You can do a bunch of stuff. Destiny kind of changes around your luck a little bit. You can get Air Magic. You can get Warfare Novice, which means that your Warfare units apparently get higher level or something like that. You start with bonuses to Exploration, a little bit to Diplomacy. It costs you a point to unreveal these, or to reveal these tiles right here to clear them on out. So, you know, it's going to cost you a little bit to get caught up with the stuff that you don't actually start with. I've never been able to actually use a Blood Rage, so I'm not really sure if she gets that later in the campaign, maybe. But I think she probably does after she becomes, well, there's a storyline spoiler, so not going to do it. I'm going to go for halves the cost of neutral creatures from the Conflux and Magic Menagerie, because that's going to allow you to summon elementals and nasty little fire beings for a lot less money. The other thing that I would recommend is that if your army has heroes from different factions, sometimes you end up with weird factions in your army. It might be useful to take that one so that you don't take a morale penalty, just in case. But I would also say something like Pathfinding might be decent, because it increases your movement by 50% on rough terrain, which normally you wouldn't have. And so you would want to stick to roads most of the time. I think this counts as rough terrain right here. And so off we go. We got to wait for this guy to come back, or this lady with her summons, and then we'll sort it out later. We don't really need that right there, but what I would recommend is that we probably take this one down here, even though it's going to be a little bit challenging. I think we may have some issues with it, but don't think I'm going to take that one either. We've got an armor smith over here, so I'd 100% say to take the armor smith if you can. The armor smith is super badass and helpful. And there it is. We're going to get a +1 to our armor right there. That's permanent, like for the character for the entire campaign. And so you really, really, really want to hit these, because that defense is stacked onto the defense of your monsters as well. It makes them a bit more resistant to damage. We got a sawmill over there. I don't think that we need it. The merchant we don't really need either, unless we could get some badass artifacts out. I think I'd probably go for the Cape of Protection on this side, so that's what I'm going to do. And so it's going to be 3 elementals. That's going to be a little bit rough because they got a lot of HP. But I'd like to think we can do it. So we might lose some characters here, but I think we could pull this one out. Let me go ahead and back everybody up, though. These are very, very slow creatures, but they hit like a goddamn truck if they get up on you, so watch out. They can definitely make you hurt in many, many splendiferous and new ways. There's 134 damage right there. That's almost the first elemental down. Gonna bypass. Be careful. Your harpies have an ability called Strike and Return. All flying characters have that ability where if the enemy is inside their range, they can fly out, hit them, and then fly back to here. It's very, very nice for kiting if you can consistently get double turns. So consider that in your strategy when you're playing the game. I'm gonna throw a knife out here. Yeah, that may help out. I mean, it's not gonna do much, but it's something. He's going to move forward pretty far on his turn, and we're going to want to find a way to get the hell out of his way. Oh, well, you look at that right there. So we could use Strike and Return right there, but ideally what you would want to do is you would want to Strike and Return from behind so that you don't eat or retaliate, I think. And so instead, what I would recommend here is that we actually relocate to this bottom corner. Might make this a little bit better. He's got the throw right there, but unfortunately it's not going to do much for us. We do run a very real chance of getting whooped right now. And so if we take the Strike and Return from behind, I think we don't take the retaliate. Let me attack like this first, though, just in case. Really, that gave us no kills. We might not be ready for this one. We might not be ready. I may have made a mistake here. Go ahead and Strike and Return from behind, I guess. Yeah, he did get a retaliatory strike, so that's going to hurt like a beezy. However, what that does do is free us up for a back strike right here with our orcs. And so I'm going to go for it. That's going to be a really, really big hit for us. Well, 84 anyways. And from this side, maybe throw. Now we just have to hope that... Oh, shit. So there's no attacks of opportunity in this game. Keep that in mind because it's possible to get yourself whomped real nasty style. So I wonder why our damage is so low against him. It's got to be like an elemental thing. Let's go ahead and I guess we'll feed the harpies in over here. I really feel like you shouldn't get a retaliation if you hit him from behind. But I guess it plays into the strategy of sort of rotating your troops as best you can. We're going to take a bigger hit from this than I thought, but I think it should be okay. I'm going to move the gnolls out because I may need them later. Oh, wow, he's sticking to them gnolls. He's sticking to them hard. Okay, well, it's better than losing orcs, I guess, which is the thing that I'd be worried about. So let's take an attack right there. Not going to have them eat or retaliate. Instead, they're going to defend, and we'll go for a kill right here, maybe. Ooh, no kill. Okay, so that's a little bit bad. And we're still fishing out no kill on this side. Go ahead and defend, I guess. I made a mistake with this combat, but mistakes are meant to be made, I suppose. We're early on, but we did get some loot out of it, so that's the plus side. The Cape of Protection is a really solid back piece. It'll add 2 armor to most of our troops, so that'll make them a little bit more resilient, reduce the damage that they take by a bit. And we got a pretty good stack of cash over here, too, which is the next part that I would really sort of trumpet about. I'm going to take the gold on that one. And so then the goal for right now, we're at the end of our first week. And so this is the week of Raiders, a week when fantastic adventures await, challenging quests abound, and innumerable combats must be fought. Interesting. Alright, so I don't know where their patrol is at, which makes me nervous. So I'm going to go out this way. There's a treasure over there that gives +1 health to friendly creatures. Maybe later. That auto-equipped, right? Okay, so we got the +2 defense. That'll be good. Let's go ahead and go for it, I suppose, since I have no idea where they're at. This right here is a horse stable. It allows you to move like 5 extra spaces per turn. And so if you're trying to stay the hell out of way of patrols, it's probably a smart thing to do. Oh, she's way over there. Okay, we're good. Grab that. Grab that. And what we want to do now is we want to get in here. This place allows us to hire elementals. And so I'm going to hire 2 air elementals for right now. They're expensive. 3,500 gold and 2 crystals, but they're good. Like, really, really stupidly good. And so you kind of want to rotate them in your line if you can. I mean, we can mess with that later, but on these sides, I think you need greater... Yeah, you need Dragon Steel. You need... What is this called? Shadow Steel. So you need Dragon Steel. You need Shadow Steel. And then you need these little crystal-y things right here. Star Silver to get them. And so we won't have any of those for right now. You want to check this every week, too, because it'll refill. There's a combat up here that we can fight that'll be sketchy. But it'll allow us to free the centaurs very, very easily. If you destroy this right here... Well, you'll see what I mean in just a minute. And so anyways, what you can do right here is you can ride off to this side. Oh, don't do that. Go this way. I think she talks to you anyways when you come up and around the corner or something like that. Out of movement for right now, but we got a pretty good movement buff. So we got half of our objectives done, and we're not even done with like the first week, so it should be good. Got a neutral army right there. I think you can talk from right here, too. But anyways, you see how there's a dam up here? If you destroy this, or if you highlight over it, it says, built with conductor materials and rare crystals, pyramids are arcane foci conceived to channel and redirect magical energies. This one looks powerful enough to destroy the nearby dam. If you blow up the dam, you can actually wipe out all these little groups in here, which will make your life a little bit easier and a bit less tedious. So, I would recommend that you fight this neutral army. It's going to be a rough fight, but it's going to be a fight that you can win.
Why come to a work camp when you were already free?
Imani comes looking for allies to fight wizards and end slavery for all.
See these undead things that guard us? They crack the wizards' whips.
What can Imani do?
I have thought long on this. See the dam up there? If destroyed, it would flood the quarry and free us from the masters.
Well, there it is. I mean, if I didn't already read it to you, now you know. And so we're going to attack this to flood the quarry. Be wary about this fight. This is a fight that can be a big issue for you if you don't do it right. So it's got some ranged casters on this one that can be big, big trouble for you. Provide some major problemas. That looks good to me. But we've got our elemental too. So that's the other part, is if you don't take the elemental, might not be so bad. The joys of actually testing this playthrough. So we can kill off 4 of their ranged characters right now, which is exactly what I'm going to do with my time. She can move to there. She's a melee character, so I'm going to step the elementals out. Oh, look at that. The elemental got a double turn. Well, I'm going to have him guard instead. She will more than likely move to there. I'm going to swing the harpies out wide. Orcs are going to follow up in the trail right there. Double move for the orcs. On this side, we're going to go ahead and take a ranged attack. And now we just have to suffer 1 hit. It should be fine, though. Oh, he went after the gnolls. Okay. It's not so good, but it'll work for now. It's only 6 damage. I think it's a waste to go over there. So I'm going to kill off one of these to sort of make our chances of killing a lot of them in one swing a lot more likely. We'll go for a backside hit right there. That is going to bait out the retaliate. However, she's going to move now, and she's going to get a retaliate back, so we may be able to clear this. Ah, I was hoping. I was hoping. I would suggest that the harpies go over to here. The orcs continue their advance just in case something happens to the elementals. They got a double turn right there, which is always nice. Go ahead and throw a knife out. Sometimes you get a crit. It'll actually fish out a kill, but you got to do what you got to do. Away goes the blast right there. We're going to lead off with this character, which is actually pretty solid. We can take our pick of who we want to kill on this turn, so we'll kill him off with the character attack. That's actually just an attack on his character. Like, sir, you are a slovenly and shabby individual. And then he weeps and cries, and then we'll take our crit on this side for the win. And so that's the easy way to do that combat right there. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerdcastle for the next episode of Might and Magic 7. I will see you all in the next episode. How you do, everybody? We're out of time for the day.